We are the keepers of the flame, the sacred order. Let the ceremony begin. And today, faithful acolytes, we take a look at this.
And what this is from Big Red's hot sauce. We have the Big Yella Tropical Mango Mustard. And I think this is supposed to be a mango. I think. And of course we got some of the usual stuff here. Other flavors, some web places to visit. The Phoenix, Arizona, where this comes from. And let's take a look at the ingredients. We have water, mustard, mango puree, brown sugar, habanero pepper, apple cider vinegar, garlic powder, onion powder, lemon juice, sea salt, celery seed, organic chia seed powder. So, we have seen the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The last 6 or 7 ingredients appear in other sauces from them as well. And I think there may be a powder base here at foot that he's using to concoct these sauces. I think this is actually a husband-wife operation. I don't know actually who's responsible for which sauces. So pardon me whether he or she is coming up with this. I think this base is a part of most of their sauces, so whichever one of them is responsible for that. So this one does not have a written review, and it is for the simple reason, because I'm sure that the more astute among you out there are saying, well, you had it for Inner Beauty, which is obviously a mustard, and not for this, and what's the story? And the reason for that is Inner Beauty, to me, was a mustard. Is a mustard. However, it branded itself as a hot sauce. This one is not doing that. It is branding itself as a mustard. And the blog is only for hot sauces. So there have not been very many mustard type hot sauces. Fire Babylon Burn from the Bad Brain sauce comes to mind, which was also a Scotch bonnet instead of a habanero. This particular one is habanero, but I'm assuming they're using yellow habanero. So, and you can see, even without us getting too far into this, it's I would say the consistency is actually pretty similar to like a, maybe not quite as chunky, maybe smoother than like a regular yellow mustard in that region somewhere. So let's take a look at it here. It does have more of a Dijon appearance. And so you can see, just get a look at it. It's definitely a mustard yellow, no question about that. And I don't know what they're actually using for a base here. It doesn't specify which type of mustard, but you can see it. It does not like to stick. It is coming right off the sides of this, which is actually kind of unusual. I don't really see this a lot with the with the various sauces I put in these spoons, but there it is. It's not quite a golden yellow, not quite a sun yellow. It's there's a color called chrome yellow, which is kind of this odd sort of brownish, sickly sort of yellow. That's what this most reminds me of, sort of a chrome yellow color to it. But also lots of flax, so celery seeds and chia seeds and things like that. So let's take a shot at this. You know, it could really go either way. It does strike me slightly more Dijonish, but there are so many ingredients in this that it could as easily be yellow. It could be a combination. Very smooth. Obviously, you get the mustard right away. There's a nice little tinge from the habanero, which I like quite a bit. There is sweetness here. I don't get mango, but I am getting sweetness, probably from the brown sugar. And celery seed is, to me, a touch dangerous to use here because celery seed can very quickly overpower almost anything. And I am getting a healthy shot of... I am getting a little bit of actually now background mango. That's kind of nice. But there, like the celery seed does read very, very clearly in here. If you're not a fan of celery seed, you will not like this. So, all right. What we're going to do is, you might have clicked on and seen this in the title, but once I got into the celery seed, I started thinking, okay, potato salad. And I think there's a recipe or two on the Big Red's website. I do like their website to a degree. I wish it was a little bit easier to navigate, but I looked around for this recipe because the first thing I think of when I think of celery seed is some sort of salad. And for this one, I thought, I haven't had a good potato salad in quite some time. And I made deviled eggs with the Inner Beauty, which you hopefully have seen that video by now. And I kind of like these recipes. I kind of like devising them and making them and coming up with them. This one wasn't really too much of a reach, mind you, but you know, I've done some grilling this year. I've done a lot of actual live cooking for you guys to be able to see. So today we're going to go with making the potato salad, as you guys saw in the title. So here we have, I like the skin on. So these are skin on red potatoes. I don't like to measure things. I eyeball everything, so this is roughly a cup. So I had to scale this down, and the recipe I'm using right now, so this is, call it roughly a cup. And then I've also got, over here I've got 2 sliced Vlasic pickles, and I've got 1 egg that's chopped up. And I like to keep a little juice from the pickle, so I don't let those drain all the way. I just put that whole thing right in there, okay? So now we have, this is what we have. We have just these ingredients. Now, I personally like to have a little bit of bite, which is what the pickles are going to do. I don't like celery, particularly by itself. And I, as longtime readers of the blog, even though one of the sauce, you can check out many other reviews, including other Big Red hot sauces, which of course is down below in the description. But longtime readers will know that I hate, with a passion, onions and onion derivatives, with the possible exception of onion juice gets into really dicey territory. That can be really hit or miss for me. Onion powder is generally okay. Onion salt is also okay, but actual onion with the particulates, no bueno. So you'll never see me make anything with onion in it. In fact, that's why there's no reviews with onion stuff in it as well. So anyway, those ingredients aside, the pickles are going to be doing double duty here as a crunchy element. So if you are not like me and you actually like those things, I guess you could maybe use like a green or red pepper. I've done those before as well. I'm not doing them in this one, but you could substitute those. But if you do like onions and celery and that's your thing, go ahead and put that in there. And then you can just use like a relish. You can use a relish rather than pickle chunks. Like I said, I'm not celery. I don't mind. I just don't. It's not my favorite. So okay, we have our glass bowl, and we have some mayo, which you saw in the video, of course, for the deviled eggs, and feel free to check that out. Those are Inner Beauty deviled eggs, though, not this type. And I've just got, so this is just a red wine vinegar. I'm not going to be using a lot of this, and then paprika here I have as a finish. This is more just to loosen up the sauce, so you don't need very much of this. Just enough to loosen it up a little bit, and we'll get into that. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to squirt in some of this mayo here. Again, I just kind of eyeball how much is in there. Let's just take a little shot here. Okay, so that's about what we're going to go with. I might need to add more ingredients. So you know, that's always the case too. You can add more ingredients. I have extra potatoes and eggs if need be. And then I'm just gonna, so when I do this mostly with yellow mustard, and I just want to kind of cover this because this is really more accenty. And I mean, we'll don't worry, we'll be tasting this before we put it on anything. And then, so I get this red wine vinegar, and we're just gonna see just this much. You don't need a lot. Just hopefully you can see this. Just not a whole bunch. And then all it is, remember, is just loosen things up. And then we just mix it together until it's incorporated. We should start to see a bit of a yellowish coloring here. And so I judge this by color. With yellow mustard, it's obviously a little bit easier, but it's just that's going to be a little bit more than we want, but that's all right. It'll be fine. I like this mustard. It's sort of a mild mustard, but I do like the heat. So there we go, getting a sort of yellowish color to it. And if you use yellow mustard, it's very, very easy to tell. So we can't over incorporate it. As you can see, it is getting runny. This is what we want. This is the consistency actually that is almost perfect. So let's just do this a little bit more. Okay, now let's taste it. Yeah, this is fun. All right, so let's take this here. It is still a bit on the. It is still a bit though. You know, I'm gonna throw a little bit more of this in there, because it is a bit more on the mayo side than I like. I never make this just with mayo. And the one thing with the vinegar is you have to be a little cautious with, because if you over vinegar this, what will happen is you'll have to also add a little bit of sugar in there to temper that. And sometimes, you know, if I'm making big batches, I'll actually temper the, oh yeah, look at that color, that's beautiful. I will actually temper the vinegar and sugar together before I incorporate anything else into it. So let's see, yeah, there's still plenty good here. And now let's take another, oop. Ah, yeah, there we go. All right, so now this part, what I like to do is just fold this right on top. And let's use our handy spoon here. Get all this out of here. So we just basically are just dumping it on top. I don't worry too much about the spread because it'll do that on its own. And then what I do, now some people will get really aggressive with this. I don't like to do that. What I like to do is just fold. Okay? Get everything nice and coated, but we just want to very gently fold unless you actually want this to be more mashed potatoes. And I've seen people do that. So I don't boil these potatoes to a crazy degree because I like them to maintain their shape. I like to have, you know, potatoes that actually look like potatoes, and instead of just a really poorly version of, you know, mashed potatoes where it's all lumpy and whatnot. So we don't need to do a lot of incorporation. We're just basically coating everything. You see, there's nothing pooling at the bottom. You see that? And this is about the perfect amount. So again, I don't measure any of those things, but you know, if you're interested in what this recipe might be, I can give you approximates, I suppose. But let me know. Let me know in the comments if that's something you want. And then for the finishing touch, what I do is, here's what we do here. I just very light dusting of paprika. And now for the most important step, and a lot of people skip this one. So it doesn't really matter if you start with hot or cold ingredients, but here's the thing you need to do. This needs to go into a refrigerator for 24 hours, just overnight. It needs to go in overnight. So we're going to set this off to the side. And because I like to pretend I'm on one of those big budget cooking shows, so here's one I did yesterday. This has been chilling for overnight. Here's the one we just made. So, not the same thing. We're going to put that in the fridge and we'll have that later. So, let's get this off our fingers. And let's get all this other stuff out of the way so we can revel in Big Red's Big Yella. The Big Red Big Yella Potato Salad. Here we go. Oh. I will say I did one thing with these I don't usually recommend. I actually mixed this in, I incorporated stuff when it was still slightly warm. I would advise you not to do this. This is so good. Now, why that mattered and why you don't want to do that when the ingredients are still warm is you can get condensation. So this one is slightly watery at the bottom. It's holding though really, really well to the components. So good. You know, like I said, I've made potato salad so many times that I don't measure anymore. But I think I would put this near pretty near the top salads I made. And it made exactly, literally what you just saw. You know, one of the things I like about this is there are so many ingredients already incorporated in this that I don't have to worry about the dry ones melding. This is done. I'm getting little hints of sweetness here. A little tickle of the habanero. Yeah. That was awesome. The other, let me just see if this is in here. So I don't see it in here, but the other thing I usually like to put in my potato salad is cracked black pepper. And there's not black pepper in here. I kind of omitted that step for this, just because this can get to be, black pepper is one of those things that can kind of become overpowering, but in that context, you really don't, you get enough of the celery seed, so that's an accent, which is what it should be. This is just, this makes delightful salads. I don't know that I love this by itself, if I'm being honest. I did really enjoy it on hot dogs. So if you want to make the hot dog with a little bit of the sauerkraut and the mustard kraut dogs, this is a champ for that. This actually, I think, is one of the things I love best about that style, because you do have that little bit of sweetness in there that reads really well. Plus, you have that little bit of heat, and from the habaneros. I mean, this is. If I was doing a sauce review, I'd probably give this a 1 in terms of heat, because it really is not very hot. But there is just enough there. This is just a really well done sauce. I'm still the dry ingredient thing that I see on a lot of the sauces from these guys. I'm interested in seeing if it is. I've got a lot of their lineup, and they also have some nuts too, and I see the same thing on some of the nut panels. But it'll be really interesting to see if they do have celery seed and the other stuff, how that actually impacts the other one. I don't get a lot, like the chia seed powder. I think that adds a little bit of bitterness, but in a mustard, I don't know how strictly necessary that would be, and I think that's why I'm thinking it's kind of a batch, because some of the things that I see in here, I wouldn't necessarily be putting in a mustard myself. They seem a touch on the unusual side. But collectively, this is a fantastic mustard. I have no reservations about sending you guys out and saying, "Hey, go buy this," because this is great. It's a really solid one. Now, if I'm comparing it to Inner Beauty, I think Inner Beauty honestly is one I prefer a little bit more, just because the mango is not maybe what I've chosen here. I like what they did. I think what they did is very successful, but my personal preferences are honestly a little bit more to the Inner Beauty side than they are to this. But I mean, as you can see, this bottle is almost gone. I'm enjoying this, and I will enjoy the rest of this. And when it comes to summertime, I might wind up picking up another bottle of this, because this is it's an excellent mustard. What can I say? So definitely check out Big Red's. What is it here? BigRedsHotSauce.com. No apostrophe. BigRedsHotSauce.com. BigRedsHotSauce.com. So, but yeah, there you go. Big Red's, Big Yella Potato Salad, and the actual mustard itself. Now go forth in peace to serve the flame.